With the adoption of Christianity, a monotheistic religion, the Christian Church has demonized the important pagan symbols, forbade the worship of the goddess Freya, whom they associated with the cat, and caused the witches, and wiles to be massacred by declare magical animals. When we look at the historical process, we can list the events that cause this point. Vaux described the devil worshipped by the witches as a shaded half-cat half-human figure and explained the immoral rituals of the sect in detail. In 1233, Conrad von Marburg launched an investigation in Mainz with the order of the Pope or Archbishop. Allegedly, Conrad reported that through torture and terror, a demonic man and an evil sect worshipping demons in the form of an evil black cat. Pope represented the Saint Dominique devil, one of the consultants of Innocent, in the form of a black cat and considered the cat a symbol of ominous and intimidation. The first implication of 9 live cats appeared in 1584 in a book called Cat Attention to the Cat. Here, 9. How many times a witch could take the shape of a cat. In fact, witches were believed to have a third nipple reserved for breastfeeding, especially for bad cat friends. Elizabeth Frances, Agnes Waterhouse, and daughter Joan, the first wizard case documented on a large scale was the case. It was said that Elizabeth's grandmother gave him a cat called Sathan, which Elizabeth carried in a basket. Such practices caused cats to be unnecessarily excluded and move away from people. In the 1860s, the cats of England were suffering from a major image problem. Having experienced the highs of ancient Egyptian veneration and the lows of medieval torture on account of their supposed allegiance with the devil, cats were regarded by the average Victorian as scruffy, mewling rat catchers who weren't welcome in well-appointed rooms. Then came one man who, with his unabashed adoration of his feline friends, shook up the cat world for good, Harrison Weir, organizer of England's first cat show. Before Weir united cats and aristocrats, kitties were considered street animals. Cats provided a useful service rodent extermination but were not generally valued for their cuteness, cuddliness, or companionship. Charles Darwin lamented their nocturnal rambling habits in 1859's On the Origin of the Species, while Windsor magazine noted that the cat was merely a necessary household appendage. To snuggle with a cat would be to snuggle with your pest exterminator, it just wasn't their function. Weir, a lover of many creatures including poultry, pigeons, dogs, and rabbits, considered cats possibly the most perfect, and certainly the most domestic of animals. Weir was not always a cat enthusiast. In his 1889 book Are Cats and All About Them he confesses to having had a bias against them and says he took some time coming to this belief. But once convinced of cats' merits, Weir became a feline evangelist. As Harriet Ritvo noted in The Animal Estate, by the middle of the 19th century what has been called the Victorian cult of pets was firmly established. The cult of pet keeping was called Victorian for good reason. Queen Victoria, the only child of the fourth son of King George III, ascended the throne in 1837 and proceeded to set new standards for royal pet keeping. During her reign she had 88 pets, all named, including 2 Shetland ponies given to her by King Victor Emmanuel of Italy and 2 Tibetan goats, a present from the Shah of Persia. Most of her pets were dogs of various breeds, and she is said to have had portraits painted of every one of her pampered canines. Queen Victoria also kept a few cats, most notably a Persian named White Heather. The fact that the Queen kept cats would certainly have helped negate any lingering stigma associated with their diabolic past. In her book Cat, Katherine Rogers noted that cats were widely appreciated as pets in the 19th century, but they did not contribute to their owners' prestige like dogs or horses. Others agree that at this time cats were often classed with rabbits and cavies, guinea pigs, as lesser fancy animals and pets of the working man. Nevertheless, many well-known English people owned cats. Florence Nightingale, for example, owned more than 60 cats in her lifetime and claimed that they possessed much more sympathy and feeling than human beings. Among the most well-known paintings of this period, including cats, Pierre-Auguste Renoir's paintings. Cat with Cat, 1874, Sleeping Girl with Cat, 1880, Figure 5.2, and Cat Julie Manet, 1887, are examples. Berthe Morisset's Young Girl with Cats, 1892, and Pierre Bonnet's Cat Woman, 1912, such as other French Impressionists brought young women and cats side by side. Philip Steer, one of the few British imprisoners, made an elegant woman's picture with her cat in her painting Orton Kaler, 1901. Thus, in the second half of the 19th century, cats became respected as pets. Those who preferred cats were not only eccentric women like Lady London Greggs, a black maid. He trusted 86 cats to continue to look at the inheritance of £150 per year had inherited. Cats were praised by leading intellectuals such as Samuel Johnson, leading poets such as Robert Southey, and popular novelists such as Charles Dickens and Bronte brothers. While the cats were once burned as Satan's representation, they were reborn from their ashes and had a proud place with the fireplace as representatives of a real British house.